Along the ocean, there are hundreds of rocks, and when you flip them, you'll find creatures you never knew were there. Like this one that had a whole army of hermit crabs. And in this video, we'll be flipping 100 beach rocks to find all sorts of crazy creatures, fish, and even deadly sharks. We're at the start of our rocky path, but the closer we get to the ocean, the more dangerous the creatures will get, with the craziest being at the tide pool rock. And our goal is to give the rarest animal we find a home inside of our warehouse. So we flipped rock number 2, and there was actually something rare underneath.
What's that? Pistol! Pistol shrimp! Got him. Oh my God.
Got him, pistol.
A pistol shrimp. And the crazy thing is, when you find one of these guys, you usually find more nearby.
There's like 3 of them in here. Right there, right there.
Ooh, that's a rare one, dude.
2!
Oh my God! Pistol shrimp have a wild superpower, a snapping claw that creates a high pressure bubble. And when it pops, it hits speed so fast it briefly reaches temperatures as hot as the surface of the sun. They use this insane snap to defend themselves, so you really gotta be careful when you're holding them. They're also the only creature we're gonna find today that you can actually hear before you can see. And check this one out right here. It was loaded with eggs. So after safely returning the pistol shrimp, we moved on, and at first, it didn't look like much until something tiny started moving.
Mini crab. That's the world's smallest crab right there.
Literally. This is a mud crab, and full grown, they only reach about ½ an inch, which means this little dude is basically an adult. And he kept trying to crawl up my shirt like he was begging to come back to the warehouse, but I'm sorry, this little guy isn't rare enough for what we're looking for. So we moved on and flipped a bunch more rocks, and you are not gonna believe what we found. Absolutely nothing. But that's how this works. It's like a giant treasure hunt. You're not gonna strike gold every time. Luckily, the fish guy gods were with us, because when we flipped our next rock, we found our first alien creature.
Whoa!
This crab didn't look like anything we've seen so far. Strange colors, weird shape, almost like it came straight from outer space. And we've been trying to figure out what kind of crab this is, and we have no idea. So if you know, drop a comment down below and help us solve this mystery. As we're moving down the rocky path, we kept spotting these weird slug-looking things attached to the rocks. And the second I touched it, it shot right back inside. And I'm not gonna lie, it freaked me out for a second.
Ew, what is this? What is this? Oh, that's a sea fan, dude. Sea fan. I thought it was an eel.
But then I remembered these are called feather dusters. And they're actually filter feeders that grab food out of the water with their fan-like tentacles. And when they sense danger, they snap back into their tiny little tube homes. After we were done messing around with the feather dusters, we kept flipping rocks. And that's when we found back-to-back miniature creatures, like this tiny sea urchin and a tiger shrimp. Now, all these little guys have been really cool so far, but now it's time to step things up. So we brought out our secret weapon, stinky squid. We're gonna use it to lure in the bigger predators that we know are hiding in this area. And we're gonna be using this throughout our entire rock trail, because trust me, this brings out the crazy predators. And then boom! Out from under one of the rocks came our first predator.
Holy cow, dude. That's a big one. Look at him hiding underneath the rock. Send him my way. Got him.
Let's go, let's go.
That's a jumbo.
That's the biggest one we've ever
That's the biggest crab of the day. That's the biggest creature of the day.
A giant stone crab.
This is a creature you do not want to get pinched by, because these claws will do some serious damage. Look at that. That thing will crush your thumb. I'm talking crack your bones.
What's wild is that people actually harvest these claws during stone crab season, then throw the crab back so it can grow another one. Just one of these claws can go for over $30. So yeah, this guy's basically walking seafood gold. But don't worry, we let him scurry back into the rocks completely unharmed. After we let that stone crab go, we moved on to our next rock and found a massive hermit crab. As soon as I picked him up, he disappeared right into his shell. I gave him a little time and eventually he peeked back out. At first, I was thinking this guy could be a solid addition to one of our ponds back at the warehouse. But something was telling me there's gotta be something even crazier hiding out here. So we put him back and kept moving. And under the next rock was a huge surprise.
Let's go. big shrimp, dude.
This thing was massive, and if you know anything about fishing, you know shrimp like this are the perfect bait for catching something big. We're on an area loaded with fish, so we hooked them on a rod and hoped for a monster to take the bait. We were fishing for a while with no success, but we did notice tons of seaweed floating by with loads of fish underneath. So we made our bait look like it was part of the seaweed, and it didn't take long to get our first bite.
I think this guy right here bit off more than he can chew. He was literally the same size as my shrimp, but that right there is a pretty wrasse. Crazy colors on this dude.
After our quick fishing pit stop, it was time to move much further down the trail. There are a ton of rocks that we can flip, but they're not the only objects in the area. We can also flip some seaweed. Seaweed houses thousands of creatures just like rocks, including some really rare ones like anglerfish. It only took a couple of swipes through the seaweed before we started spotting creatures, and you can immediately see how they've evolved to survive. Both the crab and shrimp we found were perfectly camouflaged, blending right into the seaweed to stay hidden from predators. It's honestly wild how these guys blend in and how they disappear as soon as they hit the seaweed. We've reached our next rocky spot, and this location has a lot more fish swimming around and is home to one of the rarest creatures we've ever seen, the mantis shrimp. So we're hoping we can find one of those today. A lot of big rocks though. Gonna take some serious muscle power to flip these guys. There's fish I can scoop up here, dude. Like actual swimming fish we can scoop. Since there were fish swimming around, we grabbed our trusty nets to try to scoop one up.
That's a great looking stance.
You like that?
Yeah, it's good form.
You like this form?
Yep.
Try to arch the back more?
Little
like
bit.
a turtle?
Yep. Sea turtle.
Pretend I'm a sea turtle. But we had no idea just how tough this was gonna be. They're so fast. These fish were fast and way better at hiding than we expected. So that marked the first official fail of the day. But we weren't giving up. Remember, the goal here is to find a creature so rare, so wild, it's worthy of bringing back to the warehouse.
Before we even flipped a rock, look at the size of these scales right here. There are clearly some ginormous fish living inside of these rocks, so we better be careful. That is a huge scale. I'd like to just preface that I could not have made a worse shoe selection. I was probably better off going barefoot because this is a serious liability.
So we tossed in some dead bait to lure out the predators and started flipping the biggest rocks we could find. And the second we moved one, we found this.
Something red. Could be the mantis. It's right there. It's right there. Keep going. Keep flipping. Keep flipping. Get him. Get him. Get him. What is that? It's purple. Chris, he's getting away. He's in that rock. You have him.
He's in here.
Good job.
This is a Florida blue-legged pistol shrimp and easily the rarest catch of the day so far. This thing was insane. Bright orange body, electric blue legs, and a snapping claw just like the others. I've never seen one this vibrant out in the wild before, and for the first rock we flipped in this area, to have this rare of a creature, we are definitely on track to find some crazy things. The next few rocks we flipped had some more crabs and some common pistol shrimp. Always fun to find. So we walked deeper towards the rocks further out in the water, and that's when things almost took a turn for the worse.
Okay, whatever was under there is gone.
And right after that close call, we managed to net the coolest fish of the day.
Got him. Nice. Got him.
Right by the rock.
Nice,
He was
bro.
living underneath the rock and I spooked him out. A beautiful biofish.
Nice job.
Let's go. One of the strangest looking fish we found so far. They have tiny little mouths with razor sharp teeth and rough skin that feels like sandpaper. They use those teeth to eat algae off the rocks and even crush small crustaceans like the crabs we found. Definitely a cool find, but we let them go and kept flipping. 3 rock flips later, we found a sea creature we have never seen before.
What is this? Alien species. This actually might be really dangerous.
Dude, what is that thing?
It's a clam. Oh my god, it's a clam.
Dude, that's a clam. That is actually one of the craziest things. Turns out it's some sort of flame scallop. And this one was a baby. These guys have tentacles that they shoot out to help sense movement and even swim by clapping their shells together. This was easily one of the most alien looking finds of the day. We kept flipping rocks and that's when we found a real creepy crawler. This is another alien. We found 2 aliens so far. I don't want to touch this one because it's bright red. I could tell right away it was a bristleworm, but that bright red body had me a little worried. So I looked it up and sure enough, it's a fireworm. And unlike most bristleworms, this one is actually dangerous. Those white bristles along its side can sting and cause an insane burning sensation if you touch them. These guys feed on coral and sponges, and as cool as they look, I put him right back and kept searching for more creatures. And under the next rock, we found the creature worthy enough to bring back to the warehouse. But you're gonna have to wait to the end of the video to see what it is. And as we went to flip rock number 65, out of the corner of our eye, we spotted our first toothy predator.
Yo, right here, under the rock.
You're gonna hand feed a wild eel.
I'm gonna see if I can lure
You're
his
gonna
ass
hand feed
out.
a wild eel. Keep going.
Watch your toes.
You're gonna hand feed a wild eel.
Watch your toes.
Psycho. Look at this psycho. Look at this psycho.
This is what you do. This is 8 years of training.
We gotta get his tail out. He knows to never let his tail leave the rock. He's so close to coming out, dude. He's out, he's out, he's out. Scoop him up.
Open field tackle. Oh my God, I did it. Open field tackle. Open field tackle. Miami Dolphins, sign me.
This guy is a sicko.
Just look at the yellowing on that creature.
We outsmarted the predator of the day. That is insane. That's one of the brightest ones I've ever
Dude, that
seen.
thing is freaking eating shrimp or something.
Oh my God, gorgeous, dude.
This is a chain link moray eel, and he lives amongst these rocks, feeding on all the crabs, shrimp, and fish that we found living here today. He's got razor sharp teeth and a super strong body that clings to rocks, keeping him anchored in place while he hunts. He is definitely at the top of the food chain in this area. We let him swim off safely into the rocks in this crystal clear blue water, and as you can see here on the map, we are getting super close to the tide pool. So we made it to our car and drove about 10 minutes to the start of the tide pool trail. And after about a 25-minute trek in the burning hot sun, we finally made it.
Believe it or not, Rock 100 is this giant rock.
This is the most intense spot yet with the most dangerous and big creatures of the video, so we are super excited about getting started.
And although we can't flip it, we can catch what lives underneath it.
So to find out what's living underneath it, we have to jump in the water. After snorkeling the rock and seeing all the life around it, we found our targeted species, the shark. So we got out our dead bait and cast it right back to the spot where we saw it circling.
I got him. Got a shark. I got the shark.
Even sharks live under rocks, ladies and gentlemen.
Don't get bit.
Oh, that size is perfect for the saltwater pond. Maybe we'll take him home.
Look at that thing. We got the shark living under the rock, baby. That is the top predator that calls the rock home. He was living underneath there. We saw him on the dive and he couldn't resist that squid. Look at that bad boy right there. He's got some teeth, and if you guys could only feel this thing, he is like sandpaper.
This is a nurse shark, and it loves to live deep underneath the rock, where most people wouldn't even think to look. Down there, it's the top predator of all the rock creatures. With its razor sharp teeth and strong bite, once it locks onto something, there's no escaping it. We sent him back to his home on the rock and drove right to the warehouse so we can finally reveal the new addition that we're gonna be adding in. Now we have caught tons of creatures under the rocks, and which one do you think we brought back to the warehouse? A pistol shrimp. We honestly brought this guy home because we found so many of them and we don't have one inside of our reef pond. What we do have is a ton of Watchman gobies, so this pond is gonna be a perfect fit for our new pistol shrimp. Enjoy your new 1,000-gallon reef pond with unlimited meals. Went right to the rock, and that's where we want him, because he's gonna find a goby soon and they're gonna pair and it's gonna be a match made in heaven in this pond. We caught an insane amount of creatures today in the rock, but if you enjoyed this video, you'll really enjoy where we bought fish that literally walk on land. Go check it out.